This film opens with showing three teenagers who are on vacation in a cabin by the lake, namely Teresa, Caleb, and Jessica. Jessica, who has been in the cabin for a long time, is followed by Teresa, who looks anxious. When Teresa asks about her condition, Jessica suddenly raves and says the words that are in the book that Teresa is reading.
Let me in. Let me in.
A child's face looking through the window.
Suddenly, Jessica falls from the bed, and when Teresa approaches her, something terrible happens.
I mustn't go now.
After that, Teresa returns to the lake with her scalp peeled off. Then, Jessica comes to take the drone and uses its propeller to cut her own neck. That of course makes Caleb very shocked. He tries to save Jessica, who falls into the lake, but that makes him die. The scene switches to the day before the incident. In an apartment, there is a family consisting of a mother named Ellie and three children, namely Bridge, Denny, and Casey. That day, the family was visited by a guest who was Ellie's sister, namely Beth. Beth plans to stay in the apartment for a while. Ellie of course allows it, but she reluctantly says that they will also move from the apartment soon. This is because the apartment developer plans to renovate the apartment. When Beth and Ellie are chatting in the room, Bridge and his two younger siblings ask permission to go out to buy pizza. When they return, they are surprised by a big earthquake. The earthquake caused a crack in the apartment parking lot that formed a hole that led to the basement. Denny, who is curious, then enters the hole and finds some religious artifacts, a black plate from 1923 and a mysterious book. Meanwhile, Ellie and Beth, who are in the apartment, start to worry about the children who have not returned. They try to ask for help from a neighbor named Gabriel, but luckily the children finally returned. Upon arriving in his room, Denny immediately investigated the items he found in the basement. Denny was injured when he tried to open the book, but the book absorbed Denny's blood and slowly opened the mysterious book that contained pictures of very creepy demons. Bridge, who saw it, told Denny to immediately return the book to its place. But because he was still curious, Denny tried to listen to the contents of the black plate he brought. From the black plate he heard the voice of a priest who was reading the details of a book named Naturam de Montu. The next record reveals that the priest had continued his research secretly and read a spell that summoned a demonic entity from the book. On the other hand, Ellie was seen carrying dirty clothes to the laundry room on the lower floor. When in the elevator, Ellie suddenly attacked and possessed by the power of evil demons. As a result, the electricity in the apartment suddenly died completely. Beth, who was there, tried to gather her nephews. Not long after that, Ellie suddenly appeared from the darkness. She approached the stove and cooked eggs very strangely. With a body that had been possessed by a demon, Ellie crawled and vomited white liquid. She then begged Beth to take care of her three children before Ellie finally passed out unconscious. Quickly they tried to take Ellie to the hospital, but because of the condition of the stairs that collapsed and the elevator that broke, Ellie finally couldn't be saved. Then Beth brought Ellie's body to Gabriel's apartment because she didn't want the children to be scared. She, along with Gabriel and another neighbor we call Tom, tried to pray for Ellie to be calm in her nature.
The souls of all the faithful departed, God, what the hell happened?
Because they are trapped there, Gabriel and Tom try to open an emergency staircase while the children are still in the apartment. While Beth is still near Ellie's body, The tense atmosphere makes Beth startled by the sound of her own cell phone. And suddenly Ellie blinked and woke up from her sleep. Instead of being afraid, Beth was happy to know Ellie was still alive. But they realized Ellie's body felt very hot, so she was helped by the children to bring Ellie and soak her body. Ellie's body, which was dominated by demons, then became angry and began to intimidate her family. She crawled and screamed and then attacked them all one by one. She also injured Beth with a knife until Bridge screamed, trying to get his mother out. Instead of waking up, Ellie turned to attack Bridge. Luckily, Denny quickly attacked Ellie and managed to save Bridge. After that, Beth and the children locked Ellie outside the apartment. So she looked for other prey, her neighbors. One by one, the apartment dwellers were finally slaughtered by Ellie, even Tom, who tried to shoot him, but it didn't work and ended up being killed by Ellie. Because they are trapped there, Beth tries to save them all and she sees a way out through the window. At that time, Bridge realized that all this happened because of Denny's actions. Their mother turned into an evil demon, just like the picture in the book Naturam Demontu. Beth then tried to break up the debate and was invited to see the book in Denny's room. At the same time, they also didn't realize that Bridge had also started to act weird. While when they were careless, Ellie lured Casey by singing a lullaby. Casey, who was lured, then opened the door for his mother, and this is what happened. Luckily, Beth and Denny arrived in time and managed to save Casey. After that, Beth saw Bridge in the kitchen with a state that had been possessed by a demon. He devoured a glass with a very creepy face. Bridge then tried to attack Beth, but luckily Beth managed to save herself. Bridge then attacked Denny and Casey, who were in the room, but they managed to survive with a broom handle that stabbed Bridge. The incident, of course, caused a very severe trauma for Casey. Denny then decided to tie Bridge's body as an anticipation if he came back to life. After that, he and Beth will listen to the continuation of the Black Plate to find out how to end it all. Unfortunately, the priest said that the death book could not be destroyed, and the only way to end it all was by burning people who had been possessed by demons or skinning their bodies. Not long after that, they heard a sound from the ventilation. Then Bridge suddenly appeared, attacking Denny, until finally Denny was forced to burn him. Denny, who was stabbed, was unable to help Beth, who began to be attacked by Ellie, who came through the apartment ventilation. Luckily, Beth managed to free herself by stabbing Ellie. She then ran away with Casey to escape from the apartment. They used a pistol from Tom's body to forcibly open the emergency staircase. Beth had shot Ellie's leg with the pistol, but somehow the people who had died suddenly rose and possessed massively. Beth and Casey quickly got into the elevator to save themselves, but they were trapped there. Meanwhile, all the corpses there began to unite, with a heavy body causing the elevator to fall to the ground floor, with the condition of blood that began to fill. Upon arriving at the apartment parking lot, Beth and Casey tried to escape by car, but unfortunately the car couldn't function. Before the demon came, Beth and Casey quickly hid in the gaps of the car, until finally they both tried to escape through the gate that would close. Unfortunately, in the process, Casey was caught and taken by the demon. Casey, who was going to be killed, was then saved by Beth, who tried to divert the demon's attention. Because of that, Casey and Beth worked together to defeat the evil demon by putting it into a grinder. Thanks to that, Beth and Casey finally survived and left the apartment. The next morning, Jessica, who apparently lived in the apartment, was possessed by an evil demon when she was going on vacation with Teresa and Caleb. And the film finally finished. I hope you understand the storyline this time. Thank you very much for watching this storyline, and see you in the next storyline. Bye guys.